Hello, are you ready to learn for today? During grade 8, you learn about ways on solving linear equation. Now on grade 9, I will teach you different ways on solving quadratic equation, but we'll focus only with one. That is for today, extracting the square root. Our lesson for today is solving quadratic equation by extracting the square root. So here is our objectives. First, we'll recall what do we mean by square root once again. Second, we'll try to understand what do we mean or how do we solve quadratic equation by extracting square root. And third, we'll try to do some examples for us to understand how do we really solve this quadratic equation by this technique or idea. Okay, let's proceed with recalling square roots or what do we mean by square roots once again. So if we may consider these two things, we have 3 and 9. So for example, I square 3. So if I square 3, that means 3 squared. In other words, 3 squared is the same as 3 times 3, which is equivalent to 9. Now, what's the idea of square root is that if you get the square root of a number, parang iniisip mo kung ano yung number na ini-square ko para ang maging sagot ay 9. Yan. So, ganyan kukuhain yung square root ng isang number. So, for example, ano yung square root ni 9? Babalik ka dun sa 3. Bakit? Kasi yung 3 yung ini-square ko para makuha si 9. Gets po? Now, getting the square root of 9 is equivalent to 3. Kasi if you square 3, or minultiply mo si 3 sa sarili niya, that will be equivalent to 9. And obviously, this is our positive square root or positive square root of 9. So kung iisipin mo, ang 3 pag in-square ko, ang sagot ay 9. Pero, we can also have negative 3 because if I square negative 3, that will also be equivalent to positive 9. Di ba nga, nung nag-recall tayo ng integers, we have negative 3 times negative 3 is equal to positive 9. So we can also have this negative square root of 9, which is negative 3. So kapag kumukuha pala tayo ng square root, pwedeng merong positive and pwedeng merong negative. Sabi ni Master Sensei, pwede natin sila isulat ng isang sulatan lang. So you can also write it as positive and negative 3. So ang ibig sabihin nitong plus tsaka minus sign beside 3 is dalawa na yung sagot mo, positive and a negative 3. So, that will be the answer for square root of 9. Sige, try natin. Kung naaalala nyo pa yung mga perfect squares ninyo. Just in case, kung nakalimutan nyo na yung mga perfect squares, along with this video or attachment of this video, I will also attach the different perfect squares in a table para ma-remind nyo ano yung square root nito, ano yung square root ng mga number nito. Okay, so let's try this square root of 49. So ano kaya yung number pag in-square ko ang sagot ay 49? Have you think of 7? That's correct. But you have to also consider negative 7. Kasi pag in-square din natin si negative 7 times negative 7 is also 49. So the square root of 49 is positive and negative 7. Next, ano kaya to? Square root of 225. Have you think of 15? That's also correct. So, our answer is positive and negative 15. Next. Oy, paano to? Fraction na siya. Square root of 25 over 36. Ano yung nasa isip mong square root nito? Ang alam ko, square root ng 25 ay 5. at ang square root ng 36 ay 6. So have you think of 5/6? Tama. But we have to also consider positive and negative. So our answer is positive and negative 5/6. Next. How about negative 4 or the square root of negative 4? Ano kaya yung number na kapag in-square ko, ang sagot ay negative 4? May nasa isip ka ba? Kung ang sagot mo ay 2, parang hindi ata 'to. Kung ang sagot mo ay negative 2, hindi rin kasi negative 2 eh. Parang di yata tayo makaisip ng number 'pag minultiply ko sa sarili niya ang sagot ay negative 4. That means our answer is not a real number. 'Di ba kung i-imaginein mo, 2 times 2 is 4, hindi siya negative 4. Even negative 2 times negative 2 is still positive 4. Hindi siya negative 4. So we cannot think of a real number na kapag ini-square ko, ang sagot ay negative 4. Bakit kaya? Sabi ni Master Sensei, since square roots undo squaring, o ibig sabihin, binabaligtad daw ni square root yung pag-square ng number, negative numbers can't have square roots. This is because squaring a number is always positive. Tama naman siya. Pag nag-square tayo ng number, palaging positive. In this case, negative yun nandun sa loob ng square root. So thus, a square root of a negative number is always not real. So hindi real pala kapag may negative sa loob ng square root. So our answer is always not real. Thank you, Master Sensei. Now let's proceed. How about this one? Square root of 17. Square root ba yung 17? Parang hindi naman perfect square yung 17. Anong gagawin natin kapag ganito? So, ang gagawin natin kapag hindi perfect square yung nasa loob ng square root, what do we need to do? We just write it as a square root of 17. Idadagdag lang natin yung positive and negative. Since hindi perfect square si 17, hindi ka makaisip ng number na pag in-square mo ay ang sagot ay 17, ibig sabihin hindi whole number yung square root niya. So, okay na ako kung isasagot mo ay square root of 17. So, mamaya reviewin nyo lahat ng perfect square para makita natin saan dito yung mga perfect square at hindi. So, since alam na natin kung ano yung ibig sabihin ng square root, we are now ready to understand how do we solve quadratic equation using extracting square root. So from this one, we'll be using square root property. It is defined as to solve a quadratic equation in the form x squared is equal to c, we have to take the square root of both sides. So sabi dito, para daw ma-solve natin yung quadratic equation, kailangan ito daw yung form. So ang goal natin mamaya is to make this or make the quadratic equation looks like this. And after that, we have to square root both sides. So, paano natin gagawin yon? Katulad nito. So, once na nandito na tayo sa form na to, we have to get the square root of x squared and square root of that c, or it's the constant value. Now, if x squared and c is a positive real number, then x is equal to positive negative c. So, pag in-square root mo nga naman si x squared, magiging x na lang siya. So our answer in square root of x squared is equal to square root of c is positive negative c, or x is equal to positive negative c. Kasi nga, di ba? Kapag kumuha tayo ng square root ng constant, it's always positive and negative. Naintindihan po ba? Okay, let's proceed. So here are some examples on how do we solve quadratic equation using square root property. So let's start with this basic one, which is number 1. Yan, start tayo dyan. X squared is equal to 64. So ang goal natin palagi is to make it in the form of x squared is equal to c. So, kung isusulat natin siya dito, x squared is equal to c, tingin nyo ba ganun na yung itsura nitong number 1? Tama. So, nandun na siya sa form ng x squared is equal to c. Yung x squared nandito sa left side, then si 64 yung constant natin. So, anong gagawin natin dyan? So, we all need to do is to get the square root of both sides. So, x squared is equal to 64. Paano ulit natin gagawin yung square root of both sides? Ganyan. So, kakuhain natin yung square root nila. Pareho. So, from that process, ang mangyayari is si x squared ay magiging x na lang because the square root of x squared is equal to x. And what is the square root of 64? Buti na lang ni-review natin yung paano kumuha ng square root. Ano nga ba yung number pag in-square ko ang sagot 64? Have you think of 8? Correct. So, 8 times 8 is equal to 64. So, ang square root ni 64 ay 8. But you have to also consider that it's positive and negative 8. So, that will be our answer. So, ilan ba ang sagot dito? We'll be having two answers. X is equal to positive 8 and x is equal to negative 8. Sinulat ko lang siya ng positive negative 8 para mas maigsi. Diba? So, kayo bahala. I will consider yung magkahiwalay. I will also consider yung magkasama na positive and negative 8. Naintindihan po ba? Okay. Let's proceed with number 2. So, tanungin natin ulit yung sarili natin. Is it on the form of x squared is equal to c? So, titigan natin. Nandun na kaya siya sa x squared is equal to c na form? Naku, parang hindi. Kasi parang may extra ka dito na 6. 'Di ba? So, anong gagawin natin? So, we have to get rid of this 6 by the use of subtraction property of equality. So, gagawin ko para matanggal yung 6 na yan, edi magmaminus ako ng 6 for both sides. Yan. So, parang ginagawa natin kahapon sa illustrating quadratic equation. So, if we subtract it, we'll be having an equation that is, so this will be equal to 0 already. So, ang magiging equation na natin ay x squared. Ako, ito magiging 0 din. So, x squared is equal to 0. If you take a look at this example, this is already in the form of x squared is equal to c. So, anong gagawin natin? We have to get the square root of both sides or gagamitin na natin si square root property. Yan. So, square root are both sides, square root of x squared and square root of 10. Yan. So, ano kaya ang magiging sagot natin? Our answer now will be x is equal to, ang square root ni 0, there will be no other values na pag in-square mo, ang sagot ay 0, kundi 0 lang. So, ilan yung magiging sagot natin? Siyempre, isa lang. Kasi wala naman tayong positive and negative 0. 0 is just 0. Yan. O, sabi ni Master Sensei, did you get it? So, easy, right? Ang yabang naman pala nito. Ayan, may sinabi pa siya dito. Tingnan natin. This is an example of only one solution. Yan, the same as what I'm saying before. Yung quadratic equation natin will always have two values of x or two solutions. Sabi ni Master Sensei sa number 2 example, ito daw yung isang example na isa lang yung sagot. Kasi kapag kumuha ka ng square root ng 0, isa lang naman yung may isip nating value which is 0. Thank you, Master Sensei. Okay, let's proceed to this third and fourth example. So, number 3 naman tayo. Once again, our goal is to make it in the form of x squared is equal to c. And by looking at number 3, mukhang hindi ata ganun yung itsura niya. So, anong gagawin natin? So, kailangan nandito siya sa form ng x squared is equal to c. So, ganito dapat yung itsura niya. So, meron tayong problema dito. Una, meron akong nakikitang 16 na dapat ay nasa kabila. Pangalawa, meron ako nakikitang 9 sa tabi ni x squared. So, dapat matanggal natin tong 16 at 9 sa tabi nila. So, ang mas madaling unahin tanggalin dyan is yung 16. So, paano natin siya tatanggalin? Katulad nung ginawa natin kanina sa number 2 example, we subtract 16 for both sides. Ngayon naman, kung negative 16 yan or minus 16, add 16 for both sides naman. So, we subtract 16 for both sides. And now, we will be having 9x squared. So, tanggal na yan. Magiging 0 na siya. Is equal to negative 16. Kasi di ba 0 minus 16 is negative 16. Then, we can also get rid of 9 now. So, copying ko lang. 9x squared is equal to negative 16. So, paano natin tatanggalin dyan si 9? So, tandaan kapag may katabi or coefficient yung number na gusto mong tanggalin, you can divide both sides by that number. So, in this case, we divide both sides by 9. So, 9 divided by 9 is 1. So, we can get rid of 9 already. So, now we'll just be having x squared is equal to fraction yung magiging sagot natin dito. X negative 16 over 9. At kung papansin ninyo, nandun na siya sa form ng x squared is equal to c. So, right now, we are ready to get the square root of both sides. So, if we get the square root of both sides, square root of x squared and square root of negative 16 over 9, ano kaya magiging sagot? Negative 4 over 3 ba yun nasa isip mo? Parang mali. Tandaan, kapag nag-square root kayo ng negative number, hindi possible yon. So, wala tayong makukuhang real answer. So, kapag naging ganyan yung case, our answer is no real solution. No real solution. Kasi nga, di ba, di tayo pwede mag-square root ng negative number. So, yan yung magiging sagot natin, no real solution. Alam ko, nasa isip mo ngayon is 4 over 3 or negative 4 over 3 or positive negative 4 over 3. Mali yun. Kasi nga, negative 16 over 9. Kung naging positive yan, tama sana yung positive and negative 4 over 3. In this case, our answer is no real solution. So, sabi ni Master Sensei, ayan, this is an example of no solution. So, nakita na kayo ng example na may possibility na dalawa yung answer sa quadratic equation, may possibility na isa, at meron ding possibility na walang sagot or walang value si x dahil nakakuha tayo ng negative sa loob ng square root. Naintindihan po ba? Okay, let's proceed with number 4. We have 2 times the quantity x plus 4 squared is equal to 18. On this example, ang gagawin natin is kung mapapansin nyo, kailangan natin ang form ng x squared is equal to c. So, parang yung number 4 medyo komplikado kasi ang layo niya sa x squared is equal to c. But, don't you know that it can also be x plus a quantity squared is equal to c. Pwede rin yan. So, ang goal natin dito kay number 4 ay matira lang itong nandito sa parenthesis para mukha siyang x plus a quantity squared is equal to c. Pwede rin tayo mag-square root property dyan. So, ang kailangan na lang natin tanggalin dito ay si 2. So, paano natin siya tatanggalin? Tandaan, kapag yung katabi, yung tatanggalin natin, we can just divide both sides by that number. So, in this case, 2 yun. So, divide both sides by 2. Yun. So, 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1. So, pwede na natin siyang tanggalin. Ang magiging equation natin now is x plus 4. Quantity squared is equal to 18 divided by 2 or 18 over 2 is equal to 9. Yan. So, ganito na itsura niya. X plus a quantity squared is equal to c. Since pwede rin natin gamitin ng square root property yan, pwede na natin gawin yun. So, x plus 4 squared is equal to 9. We can get the square root of both sides. Yan, square root na natin sila parehas. So, the square root of x plus 4 is just, or the square root of x plus 4 squared is just x plus 4. And this will be equal to square root of 9. Kung naisip mo ay positive and negative 3, tama. So we have positive and negative 3. So that's correct. But in this case, once again, kung titignan nyo, hindi pa ata nasa-solve yung value ni x kasi dapat ang solve, pag na-solve mo yung value ni x, ganito itsura. X is equal to. In this case, meron kang x plus 4. Meron pang katabi si x na plus 4. So anong gagawin natin? Kapag ganitong example, ang gagawin mo is paghihiwalay mo yung dalawa. Yan. So yung isa, isosolve natin, or bawat isa isosolve natin using solving linear equation. So, ito ay x plus 4 is equal to positive 3. So, consider natin yung positive 3. And this one naman is x plus 4. And we have to consider negative 3. So, positive and negative yung isosolve natin. So, dun muna tayo. Dito muna tayo sa sa left side. Dun sa left side ng equation, to solve it, we can subtract 4 para matanggal natin yung 4 na malapit kay x. So, to subtract 4 for both sides. Yan. So, now we'll be having an answer. X is equal to negative 1. So, 3 minus 4 is negative 1 kasi ito magiging 0 na. Next. For this side naman, we can also do the same thing. Subtract negative 4 for both sides. And now, our answer will be yan. So, pag sinolve natin yan, magiging 0 to. So, this will just be x is equal to negative 3 minus 4, or negative 3 plus negative 4 is negative 7. So, our answer is negative 7 and negative 1. So, dalawa yung values natin, dalawa yung solution natin dito. So, another example, sabi nga ni Master Sensei, another example of two solutions because a quadratic equation will always have two values of x. Yan. So, minsan merong one or minsan walang solution. Pero most of the time, two solutions yung binibigay sa atin ni quadratic equation. So, in this case, we have negative 1 and negative 7. Gets po ba? If you understand, try naman natin. Okay, you try. Solve the following equations for x. Write your solution and answer on your notes. So, ayan. Ito yung una nating assignment for today. Bigyan ko kayo ng 5 seconds to pause the video first and try to answer these 5 items. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I hope na-post nyo na yung video with that 5 seconds. Now, let's try to answer the following. So, let's start with this number. Number 1. Nandito tayo sa number 1. Ayan. If you take a look at this one, ang goal lang palagi natin is to make it x squared is equal to c. So, on number 1, it's x squared minus 49. So, kailangan malipat natin si 49 dun sa right side. So, anong gagawin natin? So, since minus 49 yan, we add 49 for both sides. Yan, 49. So, we will be having x squared kasi ito ay magiging 0 na is equal to 49. Then, we get the square root of both sides. Therefore, x is equal to positive and negative square root of 49, which is 7. Next. So, dalawa yung sagot dyan, positive and negative 7. Next, we have number 2, 9x squared is equal to 25. We divide both sides by 9. Yan, to get rid of 9 beside x squared is equal to 25 over 9. Wala pang positive, negative. Then, it's already in the form of x squared is equal to c. So, we get the square root of both of them. Since positive to, kahit fraction siya, our answer is positive, negative. Square root of 25 is 5, and square root of 9 is 3. So, our answer is positive, negative, square root of 5, positive, negative 5 over 3. Now, so we're done with number 2. Let's have number 3. So, in this case, we'll be having 4x squared plus 1 is equal to 5. So first, we can get rid of this 1 and then pwede natin tanggalin na si 4 on the 1 beside x squared. So we subtract 1 for both sides, giving us 4x squared is equal to 5 minus 1 is equal to 4. Then we divide both sides by 4 to get rid of 4. Therefore, x squared is equal to 1. Since this is in the form of x squared is equal to c, we get the square root of both sides. Therefore, x equal to square root of 1 is positive negative 1. So if you get the correct answer, very good. Next, yan. So we proceed on number 4. We have 2 times x squared is equal to 450. So ang goal naman natin is to make it uh, x squared is equal x plus a quantity squared is equal to c. Kapag nakita na kayo ng mga binomial, ganyan na dapat. So we divide both sides by 2. So pwede natin to i-remove kasi that will just be equal to 1. So we have x plus 7 quantity squared is equal to 450 divided by 2 is 225. Then we can get the square root of both sides. Square root property will just be having x plus 7 is equal to positive negative 15. Ito yung katulad ng example number 4 kanina. We have to divide both of them for both sides. So 1 is x plus 7 is equal to positive 15. 1 is x plus 7 is equal to negative 15. Yan. So for both of them, we will subtract 7 for both sides. So for this one, subtract mo rin yung 15 minus 7, magiging 8. Next, so subtract 7 for both sides. So negative 15, magiging negative 22. Yan, very good. Number 5, we have x squared is equal to 43. So if you notice, this is already on the form of x squared is equal to c. Yan, ayan na yung form niya. So we just need to get the square root of both sides. So square root of x squared is equal to square root of 43. But as you notice, hindi naman perfect square si 43. So ano magiging sagot natin for the value of x? So the value of x is now positive negative square root of 43. Ito yung example kanina sa unahan. Na pag hindi siya perfect square, you can just get the positive, negative, and write the square root. Tapos ilagay na lang sa loob ng radical sign yung 43. And that will be your answers. So kapag nakakuha ka ng 3 over 5, palakpakan ng sarili. You did a great job. I hope you understand the lesson for today. Until next time, bye!